Yup.
Yo.
Back in the building. Got my dog back. Got my partner in crime back.
We back.
What's good, man? Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Man to Man Pod. It's 29th, July 29th already, man. Thursday. Uh-oh. Get that on accident. My bad. We're about to be in August already, man. Dog AB fresh off his birthday.
Yeah.
Back on the show with us, man. How you feeling, man?
Man, feeling good, man. Feeling good. Good to be back, man, with the family, man. Talk some shit today. Talk some football, some Olympics. But good to be back.
Yeah, man. A lot going on. Obviously, we got the Tokyo Olympics going on. Also got NFL training camp fully underway. The whole story of the offseason, and we haven't talked about it much on here because shit, it wasn't really much to talk about, really.
So, yeah.
With Arod, people I felt were fishing for stories, and at one point I thought he was going to retire. At one point, you always said I think that he was too competitive and he would always play.
Yeah.
And I think the consensus was kind of like, okay, now it's looking like he's going to be a Green Bay Packer. So we know that's the case going forward, at least for this year. He had a very candid press conference yesterday. Did you get a chance to check that out?
Yeah, I did, man. I did, and I thought it was a refreshing moment, man, just to be able to see. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of. Well, hold on, let me phrase this right. It was refreshing to see MVP of the league come out publicly and defend his peers, his teammates, his brothers. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't hold back. You know what I mean? And I think he did it in a good way where he wasn't, obviously you could read between the lines of how he felt about, management. But, he could have really threw him under the bus, run over him, put it in reverse. But, I think he did it in a great way where he was just going to bat for his, his former teammates. And just kind of what, I think what a lot of players that's played significant time in the league, they see what goes on. You have great players that's good for the locker room, that's great in the community, and still have the ability in the organization just do them wrong. Not saying that they gotta pacify them, but at some point, it should be respect on both sides. You know what I mean? Whereas players, it seems like players have to do it a certain type of way, and really once you sign this contract, you should live up to this contract and things of that nature where, you kind of see where Xavien Howard, we'll get on that later in the show. But it was just refreshing to see, man, Arod just, come out and just, speak his truth.
Yeah, because a lot of people obviously been speaking for him. He kind of took, which I think was the right road, because during the offseason, people going to take whatever you say or whatever you do and twisting their own narrative anyway. So, like you said, I think it was calculated. We seen them all last year talk a lot more on Pat's show.
Yeah.
They were doing the Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. So you kind of felt like you got to, behind the curtain know him a little more. And I don't know. It was interesting, though. Like you said, he definitely the part that stood out to me was when he talked about guys by name, who they let go, like the Jordan Nelsons, Casey Haywards, C. Wood, James Jones, just a bunch of players that he went and named. That stood out to me a lot, and how he kind of talked about, how you can't really put a number on what certain guys bring to a locker room. And I think a lot of people in those front offices and the management and the personnel decisions, I mean, those are things, honestly, they can't really know. They can know it to an extent from the outside, but if you're in that locker room on those practice fields, obviously game the things. I think you named Pep as well, Julius Peppers. Like, it's just certain things that certain guys bring to a locker room.
That's something that analytics not going to detect. You know what I'm saying?
You can't pick up on that, man. And I know it was definitely guys. You being one of them when I first got to Indy, and obviously you left for free agency. It's the business of the game, but just certain things that I feel like that affected the locker room. To the degree. Jarrell Freeman, Jarrell Freeman came and did his thing, And I don't think he was treated fairly on the way out as well either. And I think that affected the locker room. So, it's certain ways, certain players that are just different in that locker room. I like that he came and stood at kind of at the bat for him, but he was very candid. And now it's kind of like, I'm here. I'm locked in for this year. Everybody knows he's going to be a competitor. All his teammates, former and current, say like, hey, he's going to be locked in. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I see some people getting on TV saying, oh, it's fractured now. They can't be a championship team, et cetera, et cetera. I don't necessarily believe that. I think once it's time to get the business, get to work, everybody got their personal issues. Time to play football, What's your thoughts on that, on the Packers, as far as their chances of actually competing and winning the championship going forward because of the drama that happened this offseason?
Man, I don't think it was again, like you said, I think it was a lot of news from the outside. I think I think some of the players they didn't know which way it was going to go, if Arod was going to retire or come back. But when I see 12 walk in the locker room, shit, I'm good. I know I got a chance now. You know what I mean? As a teammate, as a player, shit, that's all I'm hoping and wishing for. Once I see AR12 walk through and he say, "Yo, let's go, we ready?" That's all I need. That's all I need to see. Again, I just think it's just a lot of noise on the outside. Before, man, like we talked about it before. I couldn't see Arod retiring right now. Coming off an MVP season, and I just know as a competitor, it would be tough to leave the game at a time where it's like, I still got a lot left in the tank. Now, we've seen people do it. Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, but I couldn't see him at this point in time just walking away. I think what he did, like he said, for his mentally, for him, stepping away, not going to OTAs, not being in that building, man. I know that does something.
He said it did wonders for him. And I think, that's for everybody. Everybody, got to reset. And it's important too. I think it's an important lesson here because I think any player I heard, I believe it was Big Swagoo Spears on our ESPN this morning. He said, man, if you play in the NFL for 5 or more years, you've experienced, other players being let go who you feel like shouldn't be let go, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I think we kind of, all have, but I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it. But I think they'll be all right, though.
Yeah, now they definitely be. So let's fast forward. So the GM, we should have. And now you got me thinking like, what was D-Bud about to say? But
I come back. I'll probably circle back to it.
So the GM is on. Then he had a press conference this morning, and they asked about the Randall.
Gunter Kuss or Murphy?
I think it was Gunter Kuss. I think it was.
Somebody said, Dave K.
So he was on this morning. They were talking about the Randall Cobb and was like, was the Randall Cobb, a situation to make Aaron happy? So he said, typically we wouldn't have went down that road, but basically, it was to make Aaron happy. So at this juncture where they're at, man, like if you was Arod, like how would you handle that whole this? And he said it in the press conference, like, the relationship, it's a professional relationship now.
As far as with the gym?
Yeah, well, with the gym. So how would you handle that? You know what I mean? And then do you think that he has positioned himself where he will be in those talks as far as, free agency and things of that nature, which he was kind of talking about where that's what he thought he should be, being that he's been there for so long.
And I think he should be too. And I think that should go. It's kind of one of the issues that Russell Wilson had out in Seattle. Him not having input on the personnel. And now that he's made it, and some things got leaked, but now it's public at this point. Like, hey, I feel like I've earned it. And he even said like people not coming to Green Bay. This ain't no vacation spot. Like people come to Green Bay to play, play with me. They think they can win a championship. Which is very true. A bunch of players in free agency come up like Green Bay is not, on that list unless you're at a point where you're trying to go win a championship.
Not a destination list.
Yeah, it's not a destination place.
Nah.
Yeah, so I mean, he was definitely on point about that. But I think, I mean, a lot of people in the building, it's just professional relationships, and I think it's just what it's going to be going forward. They've made their concessions to keep him in the building, which they kind of had to. A lot of people feel like, it was much to do about nothing, but I think Aaron Rodgers made his point. I think he made it clear, and not only for him, but hopefully other teams and organizations are watching. And shoot, honestly, even other quarterbacks, because he said.
But every quarterback,
this affects how he's able to do his job.
Yeah, but every quarterback,
the second best receiver that was in camp without hollering at me like that.
Every quarterback's not going to be able to get that done, though. Obviously, you're going to have to put some work. You're going to have to put some time in.
A lot of work and time.
Yeah. But but I do agree with what you're saying, though. Obviously, if you see me as a quarterback and like quarterback of the future of this franchise, I don't need a whole bunch to say so, but then I will at least respect you to be like, what you think about X, Y, and Z as far as receiver wise, because like you said, like this man's gonna make my job a little easier. You know what I mean? So I definitely.
Nobody knows those guys like the quarterback,
like a quarterback. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Nobody knows those like. Even with like you've been a safety, free safety majority of your career, like you know your corners. Like you practice with them every day. You know your strengths, your weaknesses. You can know why they maybe don't match up with a certain guy well, or why a certain quarterback can get. It's just certain things that you know about your teammates that others don't know. So I think for GMs, for decision makers, that should go beyond even the quarterback. You know what I mean? Some of these players, you may have been in a division with a guy for 3-4 years and competed. So I want AB's input on this quarterback that we may be potentially sign, or this wide receiver, this tight end. So I think, but as we know, it's an ego thing for those guys up in the end. It's an ego. Obviously quarterbacks have egos as well. Coaches, all those people in those positions have egos. So I think those need to be worked with, first and foremost in the successful organizations. The only one that you see that kind of looks different now that is broken up was the Patriots. Obviously there was some tension there, but you had two of the all-time greatest at the head coach in the quarterback position, so it worked. But yeah, man, the lesson here is you act how you can afford to act. Like you said, every quarterback can't go up and pull what Arod pulled. Like it's a very select few. I think Russell Wilson is also, in that category as well, where he is in his team. So
I think it's a few. You got Pat Mahomes. I think he'll be able to shake some things up. Even Josh Allen. I think he'll be able to be up there. So to hear him out as well. So you have a few quarterbacks in the league right now that can do some things, and I think the upper management should be able to sit down at least for 5 minutes and hear him out.
Man.
But now we'll definitely see, man. We got some good questions in here too.
For sure. We gotta have direct. I don't know if you saw from Pat P and B Max pod, but Pat P was kind of talking about his departure from Arizona.
Yeah, I did.
How Steve kind of the GM there wasn't, and we probably dealt with this. It just wasn't up front. We've talked about on the show, like you just gotta have those tough conversations, man to man. At that point, and they was bullshitting them like, yeah, we doing this, we think about doing this, we're trying to be like, just keep it real at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you can't have those conversations. You shouldn't be sitting in that seat, in my opinion. And
then at the end of the day, it's like once you and when you do it to certain, like you said before, once you do it to certain players, that word gets around. That word gets around, and then when you are in free agency and guys are thinking about coming in, like they those are things that players think about. Like, okay, well, shit, Pat P was there for 9 years, 10 years. And this is the way you
eight Pro Bowls, 8 straight out.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how you treat
this is how you treat your guy. Like, again, and you just said it. He said it on their show. Like, you're in a position to make these tough calls, and if you can't call me in the office after 9, 10 years and me put some good work in and just say, look, man, Pat P, man, I love what you did for us, but we just looking to go a different route. That speaks volume. That speaks volume. So
big facts. Shoot, on to another situation that's brewing. Man-to-Man pod alum. We actually picked him to win the Defensive Player of the Year after this past season. So he had a phenomenal year, double-digit interception, and he officially requested, 10 of them things, which is very, very impressive. He was locking up outside of that as well. But a part of his official trade request, he said he didn't feel respected or valued by the Dolphins. Obviously they made him the highest-paid corner a few years ago. Up until this point, the last 2 years he's had great years, so he feel like he has outperformed that contract. But one of the things that was telling that kind of stood out to me was him saying he didn't necessarily understand the contract fully. And we know that's the case for a lot of young players. Yeah. And that's on the agent, the guy that you're paying or the girl that you're paying, the woman that you're paying, to make those things plain and understandable for you. Obviously, his previous agent did do a good job of that. And it's kind of like, I want to say it was the same agent and the same team. Similar situation happened with Jarvis Landry before he was dealt to the Browns. So this has kind of happened with the Dolphins before. But tough situation now for the Dolphins. And now he's officially requested a trade, but he is in camp. He's still practicing, conducting himself like a pro. What's your thoughts on this situation with X?
I mean, the most glaring thing, like you just mentioned, was that he didn't understand his contract. So that was something that stood out to me, jumped out to me. Like the agent, he would have been fired. Like, you know what I mean? As far as when it got to the point where, I'm starting to ask
that
questions.
One has been fired too.
Oh yeah, so that was the most interesting thing, or the least to say that I heard from X. But then again, I think a lot of times, players feel this way. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, if I signed and you hear, from you sign this contract, play it out. Nah, that's not how the job goes. If I sign this contract, obviously I'm gonna play a year, but 2 years in, if I'm doing things that, that I can look on the paper and say, look, I'm outplaying this. Look, we need to come talk again. Like that's just the way it is. Because if I'm not living up to what this contract that I signed, you gonna sit me down and tell me, you need to take a pay cut.
Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah, you need to take a pay cut, or we got to get you out of here. So, hopefully he'll get to a situation, to a place that he feels respected, he feels valued. But we'll have to see. Wait and see.
Yeah. Yep. The same team just did this with Van Noy. Signed him to a four-year, $51 million deal. Cut him after the first year. I guess they felt like either cap casualty because of the squeeze with COVID and stuff like that, or he underperformed compared to the contract. And nobody bats an eye when the organizations do this. When the organizations cut bait, when these teams. And these owners that's going to be in power and in position for decades to come. These players got a short window of time to make as much money as possible. Playing a game that's getting younger, by the day. And we spoke about that when we had him on the pod. So once again, great lesson. Behave how you can afford to behave, and he's giving himself this leverage, in my opinion, because he has, outplayed the contract. And once the landscape of the NFL kind of changes every couple of years, which it does, and the landscape of your own locker room, he's like, hey, I'm not even the highest paid corner on my team. And I'm second, and it ain't close. Like, coming off a year like that's tough. That's tough to, as a professional, you're competitive. We're competitive in a bunch of different ways. So, and I think that's kind of has a little something to do with what's going on with Arizona and Chandler, asking out Chandler Jones asking for his trade to get up out of there. You know what I mean?
Another example of Chandler asking want to get his deal redone before the final year of his contract. And another one, it's about communication. Okay, you tell me one thing, but your actions is showing me something totally different.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think when you get injured, that kind of hampers the contract talk.
Especially especially if you're injured anywhere around that 30 mark
30,
or on the other side of that 30.
Exactly. So I mean, I get that part. But like he was saying, wanting to get a deal done before, he entered his last year's contract. They saying this, that, and the third, and then you go out and sign JJ Watt. So
Okay, so for the people that don't know, you obviously were in the locker room for a long time, and I know it's happened to me. But what's the thoughts or the feelings of a player or a group of players maybe when and obviously we never hate on another man getting their money. That's just not in majority of our DNA. You want that man to get their money. But when a team goes out and brings someone else from another team and pay, maybe a guy like Terrell Freeman, I say, okay, this guy, he earned it. And we went out and paid somebody else, brought him in, or this player, whatever, this situation. What's that like in the locker room for the fans or the listeners who may not know? How does that affect things?
It affects a lot of things, right? Because one, we always talk about culture. We talk about culture on this show, and that culture starts from the top, right? So it starts from the top of how the GM, the president, or whatever, how they treat their players, because they know their players is what the type of product that you're gonna put on the field, how your organization is gonna be looked and perceived, right? So if you have a guy, just example, Chandler Jones, obviously he was in New England with you, went to Arizona, and since he's been to Arizona, he's been a double-digit sack guy, 14 sacks a year, 13 sacks a year for a number of years, right? So when you have Chandler, a good guy, a great guy in the locker room, he's a force to be reckoned with on the field. And
I feel like he was recruiting JJ too, wasn't he?
Man, yo, come here. You know what I mean? So obviously it's love. You know what I mean? Obviously he knows what JJ Watt can do for the defense, do for the team, and even do for him and his success. But when I'm a guy in the locker room, I'm like, all right, up for defensive player of the year, and y'all not gonna pay him, but then you go out and pay a guy off another team, damn near the same position.
Yeah.
The money that you could have paid taking care of home. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when guys are looking at that, it's like, well, damn, okay, when my time come up, how they gonna do me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a lot
am I even gonna I think it affects the overall quote unquote buy-in. Now, every player wants to compete, wants to win, wants to play, obviously wants to make a bunch of money, I think. But I feel like, I've been on teams or been a part of organizations where the level of buy-in, you can definitely tell the difference in certain locker rooms. So when you build your team, through the draft, and obviously you're gonna have to make some free agent moves. You're gonna have to do, that's part of the business. But kind of how the Colts, haven't won a Super Bowl with this regime yet, but kind of how the Colts are building it. You go out and draft, Nelson, Leonard, you bring Kenny Moore there, you pay him. It's like the guys who are Jack Doyle, you pay him a couple of times. Like the guys who have done it the right way on and off the field, you take care of those guys, and I feel like that kind of resonates throughout the locker room and that culture.
It does, because then if you're in the locker room, it's like, yo, if I go out here and perform, if I'm a good guy in the locker room, a great guy in the locker room, look, I'm gonna get rewarded for that. So guys see that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But man, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. We got some good questions in here too, though. Even we were talking about firing the agent. There was a lot of there was some questions in here talking about how often do guys fire their agents.
I don't know how often.
But man, it happens. Sure, I've seen a few guys, more than a couple. A few guys fire their agent. I fired
my agent. I fired the agent.
Why you fire yours?
I fired mine because I felt it was similar to what was going on with the GM. We were talking about the GM and just not having. I just didn't feel like I felt like some of the conversations it got to the point where he wasn't keeping it real. It was kind of telling me what I want, what he thought I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And this also happens too. So when you have an agent who maybe represent multiple players at your position, that it kind of gets it because now you got maybe like you may feel like maybe a conflict of interest. Yeah, because you got, let's say you got 5 running backs and you got 2 teams looking for running backs. And I know, me and my agent is representing the same, group of 5 guys. So my agent at the time, he, I think representing the most players in the league. So obviously we're gonna have those type of issues. But it would be certain deals that got done around the league when I'm entering free agency. And he'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you that deal. And I know, like, okay, I know I'm not getting that deal simply because of age. A team like you're gonna compare me to a guy who's 25 in his prime and he's just getting his first real re-up. Right. Oh yeah, we're gonna get you that deal. Like I know that's not realistic. So once the conversations kind of got to that point, I felt like it was time to change representation, and because that's the person that works for you. That's the person that you want, not in your corner. And if you can't keep it real with me in my face, I damn sure can't expect you to be keeping it real, when I'm not in these rooms and not on these calls with these teams and shit. So, that's what made the decision for me.
Question for you, right? And you might have some young listeners, or we might have parent, guardian, coaches that's listening to this that might be involved with, like, players that's potentially going to the next level. You said your agent had the most players, representing the most players in the league at that time, right? So going back, knowing what you know now, would you have went with that same agent, or would you have went with like a smaller agent that had some type of like notoriety of doing good stuff, or would you still have went that same route, knowing that you could kind of come into these situations where, okay, shoot, when it's my time, I might even be going up against another guy that my agent represents. So I don't know how much.
Yeah, honestly, that wasn't the bigger issue. That was kind of something I feel like, because I did feel like, honestly, and the reason I went with him was because even though he did represent the most amount of guys in the league, he was very, he rarely missed a call, always responded, damn near immediately to a text. So you would have thought he represented 3 guys by the way he dealt with his clients. And and I didn't, it wasn't a situation where I need to talk to him every day or we need to hang out. But that is, if I'm paying somebody to do a job, like, that's the type of response and access that I want. And I felt like him and his team did do their due diligence in the work. But like I said, I felt like it got to a point where he was just trying to maybe balance too much. So I would kind of, ideally, I would tell people, just, you got to find a balance. It got to be somebody who has some experience and, has been around the block maybe, and they can tell you the real. They're not selling you wolf tickets. Then you don't want somebody who's too overwhelmed. So you got to find a balance, man. I think for every player is different, their needs. And I had an agent tell me, like, hey, I'm not going to be available to you at midnight. Like, you're not gonna be able to hit me in the middle of the night or hit me to get in the club at this time. Like, that's not the type of business I run. So I knew that wasn't for me. You know what I mean? So it's different. Sometimes location matters. He was also located in South Florida, which made things a lot better down here because there was a lot of connections down here. So it's a lot of things that factor in. He was good with the family. And so was my second agent that I hired. So it's a lot of things, that factor in for different players. So you gotta really do what works for you. But most importantly, you gotta have somebody who's gonna keep it real with you, gonna keep it 100 with you. And you can I feel like you can kind of tell that more times than not out of the gate. But for my situation, it switched up later. So I had to switch up.
No, that's what's up. That's good insight. Great insight.
And for more insight with agents and all this, we actually had AB's agent, Adisa Bakari, on here a while back on an episode, but it was a great episode and gave insight on a lot of different things. He reps Steph Diggs and Lev Bell and a lot of other guys too. So definitely tap in to that episode if you got questions like this.
For sure.
We got Nakiba Walker in here also, who's an agent.
Y'all tap in.
If you've been following the show and see her in the comments, obviously she know what the hell she talking about. But yeah, man, that was important, man. I think that should be a conversation with the ex hopefully that's a conversation that comes out with the Xavien Howard situation, because a lot of guys ain't asking them questions. We keeping it honest. Like when it comes to money.
Because, I mean, we hiring you for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that was the case, shit, I wouldn't have hired an agent. I would have done it myself. You know what I mean? So, shit, like, we hire you for this, for that expertise.
2-3%.
Right. We hire you for this exact reason, you know? Hey, I'm coming to your office, and that's one thing I appreciate about Adisa. Going through the contract talks, hey, come to my office, man. This is what it is. Like, boom, this is good. This is what I think is good. I don't think this is good. I think we can live with this, but we're gonna push back on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, walk me through the entire thing. You know, maybe I'm like, man, just get to the numbers part. But he was like, nah, you need to understand the business of football. You got to understand the business of football. You have to understand what they are asking. What, you know what I mean? So he was like, and that's what I appreciate about him the most, man, because for me, I was the type that I was like, look, okay, I'm paying you this 2-3%. I just don't want to see you every 4 years when them contract talks come up. Like, nah, like, you know, if we're gonna be business partners,
some people do. Some people do. Some people do. That is a relationship with the agent. Like, all right, when it's time to negotiate these deals, maybe, you know, off the field or, you know, on the field, hey, that's when we got to talk. Outside of that, I'm good on you. Then there's other people who don't want to be best friends there. I think it's good to find a balance, because you definitely got to trust that person. For me, so that's what my too. My mom, like, if I was asking the question, my mom was gonna be asking the question. So just as accessible that you had to be to me, you had to be with my mom and dad. And she a lot of times had better questions than I did, because my mom don't really trust nobody, really. Like, and which is, you know, that's just kind of how she raised us. Like, you know, but yeah, definitely always interesting comments around that.
Yeah. It's we could talk about this all day.
But once you put that's the tough part. You put that money in front of a 25, 26-year-old, and you know, you got an agent who don't care how educated you are, because a lot of these agents care about how their deals are gonna look on TV.
Look on TV, right?
You know what I mean? Like, okay, hey, so whatever
5 year, $100 million.
5 year, $100 million. Oh shit, he's the highest paid corner in the league, you know, average per year salary. But that's what they care about, because when they go in the Panthers, they go and recruit their next athlete. They can say, hey, I got, you know, 3 guys. But then you go in the details of these contracts, and it's kind of looking funny. And that's kind of what happened, and what looks like happened with the X situation. But it happens a lot more. But when that money right, when those numbers look right, and that money coming in, a lot of these young players, they're not tripping
at all.
To be real. And that's, you know, that's negligent in my opinion. But yeah, man. Good convo. I'm gonna take my little break real quick.
Check a little party break.
You can come back, whatever you want to talk about. Any brands that you want to put up questions? Might take some questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some questions. Take some questions. Y'all shoot them in here. Y'all shoot some questions. As always, man, we got that underdog fantasy. We got that underdog fantasy. You know, y'all can tap in with the code MAN. Obviously, get that extra $25 in first year first. Sign up. We got some special things coming up.
Your mic getting staticky, bro.
Oh, I got it. Well, hopefully that's better right there. That's better? Still got the echo. Still got that static. That boy Van don't stop. Word, back. Monet, like a new name right there. How do you know when you've outperformed your contract? So for one, again, that's where you and your agent sit down, and obviously, you just know when you playing. So say with X, he had 10 picks, right? So that year he had the most picks in the league. Like D-Bus said, I thought, we both thought he was going to be the defense player of the year. It's just tough to come across 10 picks as a DB. But then as you see other corners, other guys that's playing in the same position that's signing new contract deals, and they're signing contract deal that's bigger and better than yours, hey, like that contract that I signed for, I outperformed that. So it's time for us to sit down at the table again. Like, it doesn't have to be a drastic change, but some numbers have to change. So just based off your play and what other guys sign, obviously the needle's gonna move every year. You have TV deals, you just have different things that happen. So again, you just know when you outperform your contract. How much do players get fined for being overweight, man? So obviously it's different in different organizations. I've been in organizations where they didn't fine you for being overweight. It was one of them things that coach was like, man, I'm not into taking your money. Like, if you're not serious about your craft, then it's going to show one way or another. You being overweight, you either going to come out, you're not going to get the reps that you're supposed to get, which is going to take away from you being able to showcase your ability, which in turn will get you cut. If you're overweight, you're going to have some type of pull, some type of strain. Again, you'll be in the tub where you won't be able. So that coach was like, look, I'm not into taking your money. It's going to play out how it's going to play out. But I've also been to organizations where they will fine you the max. And I forgot what the max is per pound, but
per day.
Per day. So say you were supposed to come in at 250, you came in at 260, and say the fine was $500 or $1,000 per pound. They're gonna fine you per pound, and every day that you overweight until you make that weight, you get fined. So it's different at different places.
Yeah, for sure. Them boys used to. Boy, I done seen some guys. Now, I clearly never had issues with making weight. But boy, them big boys used to be stressing, boy.
Stressing.
Hey, I can't eat that. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Oh, that joint should be crazy. I used to be at dinner. My plate used to be full. Boy, come over here with a salad. I said, boy, you're going to be hungry. You're going to be hungry.
And the way is, so in training camp, for a lot of reasons, for health reasons, hydration, everything, it's mandatory weigh. I don't know. I'm sure it's still done this way, but it was mandatory weigh-ins before practice and after practice. And, a lot of guys, you may go into practice, 210 pounds. After practice, you come out maybe 204 or something like that. But obviously the weight that matters is what you weigh in before practice or that morning. Sometimes you first walk in the building, you weigh in. Man, some cats, I done seen you walk in there, cats be butt ass naked on that scale. Like, no, chill. That's 298. I'm good.
Man. That used to be crazy.
Like the little league cats be running around with garbage bags on.
Mm-hmm. So we got my man D Buck back, man. So we've been having, a lot of.
It's got my sources too. Cardinals may be in play for Xavien Howard.
Yeah, I seen that. I mean, let's talk about that. Like, do you think that'll be obviously Chandler to Miami, Xavier to the Cardinals? Who wins that? Who wins that trade?
Saying that both players are healthy and play to their peak next year. If you go pass rusher cover guy,
I would say Miami. I was gonna say Miami wins that deal because you got to think about they got two corners that can come out and play right now. That's starting. That's They
signed Jason McCourty, who's started and played a bunch in this league.
Yeah.
Obviously, Byron Jones, they spent a bunch of money on him, who's one of the best one of the best cover guys in the league. And then he drafted Noah Igbo in the first round. So I feel like the Dolphins were somewhat prepared for this.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still in a good situation at the cornerback position once they move on, if they do move on from X. And then if you get a healthy Chandler Jones that's still playing at his peak, which I think he'll be 31 this year.
Yeah.
So I think he definitely got coming off a year where he missed, obviously, but that can benefit you in some ways. The rest of your body is getting a complete year off, and you play in the trenches. So that can be, he can come out, and this is going to be pretty much a contract year for him too. So
yeah,
so a guy like Chandler Jones is motivated. I think Miami.
Man. Yeah, that's what I was.
That deal, but I said
that too. I say that too because my thing is X is he's going to do his thing. He's going to lock down. But like you said, that pass rush is so important with the Cardinals. You let you lost Hassan Reddick, the free agency to the Carolina Panthers. If you lose Chandler, you got a JJ Watt, but I don't think JJ Watt is JJ Watt of old. You have Marcus Golden. He's still out there, but I just feel as though that pass rush is going to be different without Chandler Jones. Now you'll probably do some things with the young Gunnar Simmons out there, try to implement him some type of way. I think he kind of came on late in the season, but I would say Miami will win. I would say Miami win that one, in my opinion.
Early, they win next year, but if X, he's still young in his prime, I feel, and so long term, I would assume if they sign him, they would restructure his deal in some way. I think what he really wants is more guaranteed money. And that's what it more times than not comes down to. You want that guaranteed money. It's important in our league to strike while the iron's hot, because at any point, you saw what happened to Dak last year, and he obviously fortunate enough to play quarterback position where they feel like, hey, he's young enough, he's healthy enough, he's gonna bounce back. We still gonna pay him top dollar. Other positions that don't really happen. So hopefully it's a win-win. It looks like a win-win. It makes sense. Chandler wants out, X wants out. Two great players. You swap them. Hopefully, they get both to get what they want with a fresh start. But I think we both picked Miami for out the gate for winning just because of the positional value. I feel like, and I hate saying that when we're talking about a top flight lockdown turnover machine at a cornerback position, but that pass rush, boy,
you need it. You need
that.
Sticking with this football talk, we're gonna talk about this. We getting into it, man. We got the first preseason game next week. Hall of Fame game. So this year, the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the East and the Bucs in the NFC. Who do you got? Your biggest threats for the Chiefs in the AFC next year?
Ooh,
it's a few teams out there.
It's a few teams. You got to pick one.
Biggest threat. Threat.
That is singular.
Threat.
Damn. I'm gonna go. I want to go Colts, but it's too many question marks around Carson right now. You got Lamar in the Ravens, I think, but I'm staying that same. I'm gonna go to Browns. I know you said Browns could. I think Browns are expected to be a very good team this year. Myles Garrett, the highest rated edge rusher on Madden. Obviously getting a motivated Odell back who wasn't in the top 10 receivers rankings on Madden. You got a two-headed monster at that running back position. You get a Grant Delpit coming back, being healthy, high draft pick for him last year. You want to sign Great Noose. I'm going with the Browns. They got the roster. It's going to be on Baker and Kevin Stefanski to take that next step together at the head coach and the quarterback position. And I think they can. So I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns right now, being the biggest threat in the AFC for the Chiefs. Who you got?
That's a good pick, man. I still do think that it'll be a surprise if they go to the bowl. The roster looks good. But I'm going to go with the Bills, man. I think they took a huge jump last year. Josh Allen, man, Stephon Diggs, you got Beasley. I think that offense will take another step this year, and then with the defense, man, I think the defense is always going to be solid. You got some playmakers on that side, man. So I'm gonna pick the Bills as the biggest threat. You know, I love my coach.
Bills Mafia.
But I'm gonna go with the Bills. I'm gonna go with the Bills in the AFC, giving the Chiefs the biggest threats.
Okay. Now, why are we on the Bills? And we talked about team and I know we personally don't have experience with the COVID and everything that's going on in locker rooms now. But do you think potentially what's been going on with the Bills around the COVID and the vaccines and stuff, do you think that could affect their team, the camaraderie or the whatever, like that continuity in that locker room?
You've been in locker room, I've been in locker room, and a lot of times, man, a lot of the uproar that's outside in the real world, most of the time is not the same in the locker room, right? So I think most of the time guys respect the decisions that guys make. So, it's been a lot of back and forth as far as vaccinated and unvaccinated players in the locker room or in the league, right? I know it's a huge topic, but I think for the most part, guys are going to respect pro-choice. You have a decision. You have your opinion on what you believe in, and I think guys are going to, for the most part, respect that. Now, as we get into the year, if we find out that games are being forfeited or whatever the case may be, it's a lot of ifs, it's a lot of maybes right now. And obviously, when it's when you start dealing with and messing with people's money, now those situations makes it a little different.
Friction.
Yeah, it can cause a little friction.
I honestly don't anticipate that. I asked you that question, but my thoughts on it, I think the Bills will be fine. They've had some spats on Twitter and things like that, but like you said, they took steps. You can kind of see behind the curtain. You've seen them practice at times together. You've heard them talk. I think they'll be fine going forward, 100% fine. And I think the quarterbacks. Oh, you got that static again. I think the quarterbacks have been doing a good job showing leadership too when they're getting these questions about the vaccines and stuff. And I know personally, I kind of know the vaccination status of a few of them, and they're saying all the right things though. Hey, that's the personal decision. I'm not really going into if I am or not. And that's kind of protecting their teammates, And like I said, some of them I know are vaccinated, but they still aren't going to throw, or put their teammates on the spot. So I think that's important, and it's been good to see. And at the end of the day, 95+% of the NFL probably going to be vaccinated come season time because of the the pressure that's been applied. And that's the case probably around the country, honestly, in most jobs. Day by day, week by week, you'll see more people, more places mandating it. And when you make somebody choose between their livelihood or getting a shot, most people are going to choose getting that shot. And if you're okay with that, that's cool. Me personally, I don't think it's right, but it is what it is at this point. But onto the NFC. Biggest threat to the Bucs. Bucs brought everybody back, including the GOAT at quarterback, all three coordinators, head coach, the equipment guys, athletic training staff, everybody, cafeteria guy, everybody's back with the Bucs, man. Who's the biggest threat over there?
The biggest threat to the Bucs this year, I will go with I'm gonna go with the Packers.
You're going with the Packers. Packers coming off back-to-back NFC Championship games.
I'm gonna go with the Packers, man.
And obviously, it's a lot of attention on the Packers. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm gonna go with the Packers.
They were close to knocking them off last year. That's a good one. I like the Packers. Good roster. Championship level roster, especially with Arod back. But I'm going with the team just jumped out of my damn head. Bucks, Packers. Damn. Was it the Lions?
Hell nah. I was about to log out if you was going to say the Lions.
Was it the Saints? Nah, it's the 49ers, man. San Francisco 49ers. This team 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. Jimmy G's back. I know he's, caught a lot of flack. Obviously, they drafted Trey Lance, which I think will motivate Jimmy G. Jimmy G, 22-8 as a quarterback in this league, which we both agree is pretty damn good. Like I said, made a championship appearance. You got Bosa coming back healthy. You got obviously locked up Fred Warner. You got Deebo Samuel another year for Ayuk, who I think is special. A lot of weapons on that team, man. Shanahan's back. Obviously locked up Trent Williams, who was the best tackle in the league last year. So I think they're gonna be motivated, and I like the Niners to do some special things this year. I'm taking the Niners as the biggest threat to the Bucs over on the NFC side.
That's a good one too, bro. That's a good one, man.
The NFC West gonna be crazy, man.
It's gonna be tough, man. We talked about that not Monday, but I think it was last Thursday. Seattle, the Rams, AZ, and the Niners, man. So that's definitely gonna be a tough division as it is most of the time, anyway. I know we had talked about it before. Let's talk about sleepers. One sleeper in the AFC, one sleeper in the NFC. Because I kind of been thinking about this. I know my NFC sleeper. I kind of really been thinking about this, and I'm like, they might. In the NFC, man, I got that Washington football team, man. I kind of been thinking about it, man. Hey.
That's a sleeper for real. You bite that bet if you want to. That Washington football team, that defense gonna be special.
Defense gonna be special. I think.
Where's all this faith coming from? Hey man, Fitzy, man, like what is going on right now? What are y'all drinking?
We said sleeper, right?
But that's y'all on ambient. That's the ambience.
Hey, look, my two sleepers. They coming out the same in the NFC. They coming out the same division. It's them and the Giants.
All right, my sleeper in the NFC is, and I don't even know if this will be considered a sleeper, but I'm gonna say the Saints. James, you don't think they're considered a sleeper?
I don't think so because we talk about James. I think the consensus is 98%.
I don't think anybody think they're gonna make a run. They could be a contender though with James. I don't think most people think that. I think they could be with that defense and James come in and he's slightly improved the quarterback that he was in Tampa Bay. Like he cut down on turnovers. I think they can make some noise.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I'm saying. Like
that'd be my sleep. That'd be my sleep. What about AFC? And don't go. You can't say the Browns, bro.
Man, look at here. All right. Can't say the Browns, I'll go with the LA Chargers.
Ooh.
I'll go with the Chargers.
You know I like Herbert.
Yeah,
got Derwin coming back.
Got Derwin coming back, so I think they could do some things. I think year two for Herbert.
Got a rookie head coach now with Staley out there.
Mike, they was 12. What they were 12-0.
Who that? Steelers?
The Steelers, yeah.
Whoa, somebody said the Texans. Yeah, y'all on that. Y'all getting that good sleep.
I wish my man Ty the best, man. T2, man.
Oh, for sure. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this football season to get underway. Start playing some games, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good season. A lot of anticipation around the season, obviously. So it's gonna be fun, man. We're gonna have this fantasy league popping off. It's gonna be fun. Speaking of, I know we talked about Madden earlier, but so we actually got DM another pro DM, both of us, because Jalen Ramsey's announced to be in the 99 club today, joining his teammate Aaron Donald, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce,
I think,
and who else? Anybody else? Has Mahomes made the club yet?
Nah, he's on his way though.
He might be, yeah. So Jalen Ramsey joined the 99 club. So somebody asked us, Jalen worth the 99, fellas? don't seem like he creates many turnovers. I know he's a great cover guy, but 99, it's a real question because I don't watch him that tough enough to know.
I don't either.
NFL receiver.
But just and that's the tough thing about being a corner, right? So because his stats don't show it, I think he impacts the game.
And that's why he asked, because you can't.
Yeah, he impacts the game in a major way. Now, why doesn't he get a lot of interceptions? Because quarterbacks know if I throw this way, shit might be going the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think if it was, I would say it's probably three corners who could be deserving of that 99.
If you're going to give a corner 99 going into the season, it should have been X Howard.
It should have been X, but that's what I'm saying.
We just talked about this. But we know video game ratings and that shit changed. But in my opinion, I feel like Howard should have went into this season as the highest rated cornerback.
But are you mad that Jalen Ramsey got it?
I ain't mad. Do I think he's deserving of the 99? I would say no because of the reason. Number one, I just stated. But I do think he is a great cornerback. He does a lot for that defense. He goes inside. He goes outside. He can play man by himself, no help. He can play zone. He can come up and be physical and tackle the run game.
So I'm not mad at it.
At a very high. I'm not mad at it. But like I said, I think X should have been higher coming into the season, in my opinion. And even if you look at the running back, they put a top 10 out, and C-Mac is on top of that. Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he should have been the highest rated running back coming into this league. I mean, coming into this year. You know, we know what he's done, but I don't think he should have been over Derrick Henry.
Nah, he definitely shouldn't have.
Or Chubb or Cook. I'll put him 90, 94, 95 maybe.
I wouldn't have him over AK.
Yeah, just because, you know, in this league, it's what have you done for me lately? And you got to prove it every year again. So I can't just think like, okay, C-Mac steps back on the field, he's instantly the best running back in it. And I just can't see that. But the Mad 22 top running back rankings 1 through 10. We got Christian McCaffrey at the top, 97. Derrick Henry, 96. Nick Chubb, 96. Dalvin Cook, 95. Alvin Kamara, 94. Which Jones is this?
That's Aaron.
Aaron Jones, 91.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, 90. Josh Jacobs, 89. Zeke, 88. And then Joe Mixon at 88. So anybody missing from that list? Your opinion? Or you think that's a pretty good list?
I think so. I think it's a good list. I think they could switch them around a little bit, the rankings or whatever. But I think it's a good list as far as top 10 running backs in the league at this moment in time.
Yeah, good list, man. I always love Madden in the conversation they bring. I've been in the 99 Club, by the way, since 2009.
What was your
as soon as I logged into Madden, saw D-Butt on there, 99.
What was your highest rating?
Oh man, I don't even know. Some 80s though. They stayed trying me.
I think I had probably like a couple years in the low 90s. I think so, in the low 90s. I'm in the low 90s, like the
thing I like about Madden though, for the last few years, your ratings adjust as the season goes on. So if you're having a good season, this shit starts to go up. So I think that's good. But yeah, Madden ratings, they definitely talked about. They were talked about, when I was in the locker room. So they are important to an extent, but they can change. And it's always going to be debates about it. But yeah, man, I think it's a good list. Like I said, I think Derrick Henry should have undoubtedly been the highest.
For sure.
Into this league, though.
For sure. We'll be remiss, man, if we don't talk about this before we get out of here, man. Obviously, we know the Olympics is big right now. Got a lot of exceptional talent from the U.S. all across the world out there in Tokyo, man, going against each other, man, and doing some beautiful things, man. But obviously, a lot of talk around, like you said, the GOAT, Simone Biles, man. She withdrew from all individual and all around competition in Tokyo to focus on her mental well-being. Again, I think a lot of people's talking about it, and I salute her. Just kind of talk about, and I think we fail to realize a lot of times, man, just the weight on some of these competitors' shoulders. You know what I mean? And especially for her being really like one of the top, not really, but probably the top athlete to go represent the U.S., man, and just what she has to deal with.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Obviously, the sexual assault, dealing with that, and kind of being the spokesperson about that. And
I think she was the only survivor that was in this Olympics.
In the Olympics, exactly, man. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm pretty sure that she's dealing with. So just for her to go, to come out and say, "Look, I'm stepping away, and I'm gonna let my teammates handle the rest of the way," man. I thought that was very, 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 very strong moment for her. It's something she needed to do, man. So again, I salute Simone Biles, man. Just focusing on self, man. We got to do that more.
You got to, man. Obviously, we have our different professions and everything like that, but gotta self-care, your mental wellness, your mental well-being. And this conversation is growing more and more, and I think we're all learning more and more about it. Even when we played, when I first came into the league compared to when I left the league, like the idea or the thoughts around concussions are completely different. That used to be kind of something that looked at as, are you tapping out for a concussion? Or you went and reported yourself to a doctor, you're not feeling right. You better get your ass back out there, especially if you talking about missing a following game. But then as, my career went on, as things changed, as people started to learn more about the brain and the injuries and, CTE and concussion, all this stuff, I think that narrative and the idea around it changed. And I think that's what we're seeing with, the mental health discussion overall. And obviously this impacts everybody, not just athletes, but these people. And I can imagine being in the spotlight like Simone Biles and what she has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So salute to her, man, and everybody else that's dealing with and, battling these, their own personal issues. I think she also had something called the twisties too, which is kind of like a thing where kind of similar to the yips or something like that in different sports, kind of what you saw Fultz with his shot. Yeah. People get it in golf. And this is something that happens in gymnastics. So, I think we all just got to be more, we got to let people do it. And it's not, not obviously Simone is the face of it now, but this conversation will continue to grow.
Yeah, for sure. Take care of your mentals, man. However, I ain't gonna say however you need to, but it's some ways you can do it better than others, man. But if you need to talk to somebody, please talk to somebody.
For sure. And make sure you spell twisties right too. If you're gonna look it up on the internet, make sure you spell it right. I heard from Pat McAfee, like if you don't, and what somebody put the correct spelling of twisties in there, because if you spell it the wrong way, some things bad rabbit hole. So before we get up out of here, somebody please put it in here. I think it's the IE. All right, see, nobody don't want to put it in here, man. Y'all setting each other up. Okay, not Dave K said not with the Y. Sound like he got some experience with the twist.
For sure.
Appreciate y'all, man. Okay, there we go. Twisties, not twisters. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all know what to do. Go check out Pat's show. I will actually be in studio in Indy tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Be out.